And we are live. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to our second edition of Memories from the Kitchen, direct from Boca Raton and Miami, Florida, not far from Beth. I'm Rabbi Robyn Fisher, and it is my honor today to welcome my dear friend, Susan Linder. Susan, I don't even know what to say about you, except for you are the quintessential children's Jewish children's songwriter and entertainer extraordinaire. You have raised a generation and more of Jewish children in our community, and dare I say, you have given them the joy and the sense of identity that we want for our children. And we are just so blessed to have you here today to share with us your, what recipe?
Matzo ball soup.
Matzo ball soup. And how do we know you're making matzo ball soup? What's on your shirt? Heck yeah, peace, love, and matzo balls.
Peace, love, and matzo balls.
Nice, I love it. I'm so happy to have you here. You are such a gem. So when I was trying to figure out putting this together, and I was thinking of a few people, and all of a sudden on my Facebook came Susan Linder preparing her matzo ball soup to share with the world. And I'm like, that is a person that I need to have on our Memories from the Kitchen. So I want to hear a little, we're going to hear from you in a little bit. I just wanted to set the tone, if it's okay with you, before we dive into our recipe, with this whole idea of Jewish memory, right? Because there's something deep inside of us that we need and crave and depend on and yearn for, these Jewish memories that we share. And it begins from childhood and it continues on through the rest of our lives. And Jewish memory is it's not just remembering our Jewish celebrations and holidays, and dafka, that would be enough, or dayenu, but it also has the ability to imprint our souls, to actually create our Jewish identities. And it's that which connects us both to our current life, the people that we share and cherish life with, and those who are no longer physically with us, but who are here in spirit and in smells and foods that we eat. Because there's something magical about food that touches every single one of our senses, right? It lives on long after we're here. Our smell, obviously, and our touch of the food. I'm looking at the sights of mama or bubby or whatever in the kitchen, the hearing of it, and of course that our sense of taste that imprints on our soul like nothing else. It can just take us back in time, oh, do you remember when Uncle Jerry was, and just when we were kids, as if we are still kids. And there's just something, it feeds, I think, our souls in ways that nothing else can, right? And not only that, what the heart of a Jewish home is in the kitchen. It's where people hang out and nibble and taste, and where those rituals and those memories are triggered, right? So
Yep.
we think about vador, and we say that when we're thinking about traditions and rituals, but I know that you too have these recipes that are vador because we've passed them from one generation to another, and connecting us with people that we love and adore, that just, we kind of bring them to our hearts, and as if they're not always there, but bring them to the forefront of what we are living in our lives, and adding a little of their soul into the food that we are eating. So Susan, what are we going to be cooking here today, and where did this recipe come from?
We're going to be cooking matzo ball soup because, it doesn't matter. I have friends who have said, oh my God, it's so hot. I can't eat soup right now. I'm like, I live in Florida. It's always hot. That means I'm never allowed to eat soup because I live in Florida. So there's always a good time for soup. And the matzo ball soup, my mom, my grandmother used to make. I remember going into her apartment near Dayland and smelling the soup. And I don't really remember cooking it with her, but I just remember it happening while we were younger. And my mom cooking it. So I was in the kitchen with my mom cooking it. On my dad's side, I don't think my grandmother really cooked, but her sister, my Aunt Bert, she cooked. everything. And no, you could, when you drove up, they lived on Euclid Avenue in Miami Beach, and when you pulled up to the apartment, you could smell like you didn't even get out of your car yet, and you knew, woo, we were there. Good timing. So, yeah. So it and my mom in her later years wasn't well enough to cook, so my father did a lot of the cooking, and he made the soup. And a tradition in our family is once you are you have your own home and your family, that you contribute to the holiday dinners. You no longer just have to bring the soda. So they said, start bringing, tell me what you want to bring. And I said, you know what? I want to make the matzo ball soup. And so I started making it. And I can't even tell you how many years now. I've been married 32 years. Yeah, I think so. And I've been making the matzo ball soup probably as long as that. And when it comes time to the holidays, I just show up with my soup, and haven't had any complaints. You
What
have to know
holidays like I always think of matzo ball soup as Passover, but somehow it has made our way to like every holiday table now.
every holiday table, and it doesn't even have to be a holiday.
Oh,
My
that's
Yeah,
Shabbat is a holiday.
Shabbat, right? Shabbat or just any holiday. My son, he could have the matzo ball soup 24 hours a day. That's all he needs is the matzo ball soup. Yeah. So I like to carry on the tradition that my uh, family, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, all before me. As a matter of fact, so I gotta get going if we want to have this
Yeah,
done.
I think you got to talk and eat and cook at the same time. You got
Exactly.
to tell us. You got to bring us into this process.
Well, I'm going to bring you into the process. So first thing I'm going to tell you is that the pot I'm cooking in is a 20-quart pot.
Oh.
It's a huge guy right there, right? That belonged to my mother and father. So I lost my father in 2015. I lost my mom in 2018. And in my garage cabinets are all of my mother's worldly possessions. And I use a lot of it when I cook. Before I got this pot, I cooked in a 16-quart pot that no, I think it was a 20-quart pot also, that both of my grandmothers gave me for my wedding. So I think they knew way back when that I was going to
You were going to be charged with this.
I think so.
It's funny. There's something about using something that your loved one used. And I have a few things like that I make my challah with, the same bowl, the same towel that's shredded from my mother's house from growing up. And there is something about that and creating those traditions intentionally. So I love that you're doing that too. So bring us into this. Let's
I make the charoset in the wooden bowl with the hand chopper that was my grandmother's. I have the Tupperware plastic rollout with the rolling pin that I make the homentage in. I used to watch them do it. So
now show us about the chicken soup.
Chicken
La la.
Here we go. We got chicken. Now,
Chicken goes in the chicken soup.
chicken goes in the chicken soup.
Good.
In my family, we don't do small. We only do a lot. So I don't know, Robyn, you got the recipe. Did you?
I did not send it to him because I didn't know who had registered, but you guys, I'm going to send it to you. While Susan's talking, I'll try to do it, but it's hard to focus. So I may have to just do it afterwards if that's okay. You can just pay attention, take notes.
Right. So I have about 12 pounds of chicken. And the recipe that you're going to get talks about making a lot of soup and making a little soup. So let me get the other bag.
While you're doing that, is that like, how much does 12 chickens make? It sounds like you're doing it for an army.
Well, there is an army in my family, and they're all waiting with their hands out for who's going to get what. So yes, I make. Here's a picture. The last time I made soup, that I put in all these containers.
Oh wow! Look at that.
So that I could send them out to the family.
Like, how many of those will you make?
There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 containers right there. It could be 12 containers.
It's like
You know,
epicure.
I know what we're eating for dinner tonight.
Nice. I'm coming. What time are we coming? What time should I be there?
You know, after 5.
Okay. So I
All
know
right.
that a lot of times you package that and freeze it and you bring it to people's homes. And that was how I first heard about your matzo ball soup. That you bring
Yes.
it to people's homes that are sick or in need of a little mamalishin.
Yep, exactly. A friend of mine said that she wasn't feeling well yesterday, and I said, "Hey, I'm making some matzo ball soup. If you want me to bring some over."
And she
She
say
said,
yes.
"Yes." So I said, "Anytime after 5."
So is it
So
true what they say about Jewish penicillin?
I think it is. I'm a firm believer. All right, so here, let's see. Look, we could do the magic here.
Okay.
Oop, hold on. There's the chicken in the pot. Oh my gosh, it's not easy to do that. All right. And then this uh, measuring cup belonged to my mother.
Good. And I, by the way, I have some beautiful memories of your mom, even though she was not well when I first met her. I don't even know how many years ago, and visiting her in the hospital. And she had such a joy about her, and she was always smiling,
Always, yes.
just like you.
Thank you. She really was always smiling. All right, so I'm going to cover, this is 4 cups. I'm going to basically cover the soup. I'm going to cover the chicken. By the way, one of her oldest and dearest, I shouldn't say oldest, longtime friends, Lenore, is on here right now.
Nice.
So she could vouch for me, everything that I'm saying. I don't see her, but I see her name. My cousin Laura's on here. She could vouch for me also. So that's 8 cups of water so far. Let's see.
You know, while you're doing that, I found out that there is some science to Jewish penicillin with matzo ball soup. So I
Yeah.
wanted to share this with you. I'm like, is there anything to this? And I looked it up, and it says that the chicken in matzo ball soup stock contains cysteine, an amino acid that helps thin mucus in the lungs, which helps you expel that stuff when you cough or sneeze. And onions contain antioxidants that help limit the inflammation that sets in with any infection, including respiratory infections, as best known as the common cold. And do you use celery?
Of course, yes.
Celery contains vitamin C, which helps bolster the immune system. And if that's not enough, in general, it's supposed to inhibit the movement of neutrophils, a type of white blood cell that's deployed by the body to fight infection. How cool is that? Like, there's some really, like, this is homegrown medicine,
Dr. Fisher.
right? I
Thank
love
you.
that. It's amazing
I
what
love
Google,
that too.
Google can teach you and you can find out.
That's right. Dr. Google, Rabbi Google, we got it all right there.
Okay, I like the Rabbi Google.
Okay, so I got my pot going. I got all that's in here right now is my chicken and the water is just to the top of the chicken. Just cover the chicken. Now, I have the recipe. I tried to find it in my mom's handwriting, but I don't think it actually is. I think she just like dictated it to me and I put it in.
You're writing.
Yeah.
But it's channeled.
Yeah, exactly. But when you get this, you'll notice it says in big bold letters, cover pot. One year I made the soup, and the soup, it was done, and I looked and there's like very little broth. I'm like, where's the broth? And my mother says, did you cover the pot? I said, did you tell me to cover the pot? He said, I guess I didn't. So in big bold letters it says cover pot. Note to self. So because I'm
I
making,
also found out, by the way, when you don't cover it, the matzo balls don't expand as much and they get brown.
well, that's
so-
not the matzo balls yet. That's just the soup.
I know, but I'm saying that that's also part of the matzo ball thing.
Right. The matzo balls are in another pot that's boiling, and I'll show you that in a second. So it says in the large pot, I need to put 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm not going to put all that in. I'm going to put in 1 tablespoon of salt just to get the water going and everything. So
Well, people have a lot of heart disease issues, so we can always put in our own salt.
Well, that's true, but it's got to take out the flavor of the chicken. So
Yeah.
it does
Oh, you get the
say,
using the kosher salt?
I have it, but I usually just use good old Morton's.
Oh, Morton? Okay.
So I'm just going to put it in just to get everything started and zhuzhin over here. Okay. So that is on about a medium high right now because we got to get it to do its thing. While it's starting to do its thing, I have over here a pot of water that I've already put up to boil, and I'm going to prepare, I'll bring it over here to prepare, let's see, maybe I'll do it right over here. Let's see if I turn this. I have a microphone that's very sensitive. All
Is
right,
that where the music happens?
say it again?
Is that where the music happens?
No, it's just my kitchen.
No.
Music happens.
Do you, is that like where you have people, your guest artists that come?
Oh, no, that's actually in the other room. That's in the room over there. We can go on a tour later if you want.
Okay.
Okay, so in this bowl here, so I'm going to make the matzo balls. I use this box.
Manischewitz.
Manischewitz. I don't use the matzo ball and soup mix. I just use the matzo ball mix. Okay, the soup mix, that's where all your salt and everything. I mean, there's salt in here, but that's where all your salt is and soup part of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 4 eggs and I'm going to crack the eggs into the bowl.
So while we're doing that, I know that some of us have probably made matzo balls and looking for that perfect matzo ball, whatever that is to you. Some people like them really dense and some like them really light and fluffy. I want to see, let's do a little poll on our chat. If you can put in the chat, if you like dense dense matzo balls, 1, put in 1. If you like light and fluffy, put 2. And let's see what we have here.
There's even a song for that. I'll sing that in a second.
Oh, you're going to play it, I know.
All right. So we have
Okay.
4 eggs.
We kind of like them light and fluffy. Do you like them light and fluffy or? Oh, it's split. Sort of. It's a little bit
I'll tell you
more.
how to do it. Ready? Hold on.
Okay.
So I'm going to put 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil in
Uh-huh.
because I'm going to make the entire box. I follow the directions on the box.
Okay.
For 1 envelope,
that.
2 eggs, 2 tablespoons of oil. For the whole box, it's 4 tablespoons of oil, 4 eggs, and 2 packages. So,
What kind of oil do you use?
vegetable.
Okay, just checking.
Yep, your favorite vegetable oil. So I just take the package.
Have you ever tried just using matzo meal? Is that all it is matzo meal?
Not, there's salt in there also.
A little
So this
herb
is
and stuff?
basically, let's see what it says. Matzo meal, unbleached, unbromated Passover wheat flour and water, salt, monocalcium
Okay,
phosphate.
you can't pronounce it, don't say it.
Exactly. Onion, black powder, pepper. So there's a couple of other things in here. Contains wheat. So I'm going to mix this. I'm going to zhuzh it.
Okay, shush it.
We're zhuzhing. Oh, I should have beat my eggs before I did it. Whoops, I didn't beat the eggs. That's all right, it'll be fine.
It's done.
I'm beating the eggs while I'm zhuzhing it at the same time. Yeah, you're supposed to beat the eggs first. All right, so this, in the meantime, my water is boiling. So after I zhuzh
just
this.
the time for Janie to come on.
Oh, good. Janie, I think, is coming in from New York.
Nice. What's up, Janie Claren?
Yep. All right, so I have zhuzhed this And then it has to go into the refrigerator for 15 minutes. And with TV magic, I'm like Rachel
Voila.
Ray, aren't I?
Nice. It's amazing how you did that.
It's amazing. So it's already been in for 15, 20 minutes, doesn't matter. The longer, I guess, the better. Nice and cold. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make about walnut size matzo balls, and I'm going to put it into the water. So this is what's going to happen. I have to make as many as I can and put them into the water. And then I have to cover the pot, turn the fire to simmer or low, and hit the timer on the microwave for 20 minutes. That's what it says on the box. Okay? I'll explain in a second. So here we go. Let me just wet my hands a little bit. Just makes it a little easier to make those matzo balls. And then I just make little walnut size matzo balls. They don't have to be perfect.
I like to, when I'm doing that, I like to roll them in my hands, like in the palm of my hand, and make a little ball. Yeah, a little bally.
Yep.
Make it nice and smooth.
Yep. I used to use like one of those little ice cream scoopers.
I noticed that you're not covering the pot that has a chicken in it.
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
No. It's got to come up to a boil, and it's got to, get started, and then once we put in the good stuff, that's when we'll cover it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5. And my family, if you like them smaller, you make them smaller.
So does your family like the more dense ones or the lighter and fluffy ones?
Light and fluffy.
And is there something that we do to make them light and fluffy?
So,
Or are you just following the recipe?
okay, listen very carefully. If you're taking notes, here's your notes. Ready?
Listening.
On the box, it says, cover, simmer, and cook for 20 minutes. To make them light and fluffy, when the timer goes off in 20 minutes, you lift up the cover, you say something nice to the matzo balls. Have a nice day. You look great. Isn't it beautiful out? I love you. It doesn't matter.
A blessing on the matzo ball soup.
Blessing on the matzo balls.
I love that.
5 more minutes, you will have perfect matzo balls.
So I've heard, I don't know if anybody else has heard that, but I heard that if you put in seltzer water into
I've heard that. I've never done it. I even got my father to say something nice to the matzo balls. That was fun. He's like, "Are you kidding? I'm not going to say anything nice to the matzo balls." I said, "Say something nice to the matzo balls." He goes, "I love you," or whatever he said. It was fun.
Have you ever heard of, the other thing I've heard to make it fluffy is baking powder. Has anybody ever done baking powder?
I have not. I've heard that too. So let's see. Hold on.
But not on Passover. That's a leavening agent.
Okay, thanks, Kath. I know that voice.
All right.
We said that we would use it all year long.
She's keeping you honest.
So there are the matzo balls, right?
She's our house chef.
So now we're going to cover the pot, turn it down, put on the timer for 20 minutes, and then when it goes off, remember, say something. Plan. I was away with my girlfriends on the beach several years ago. Oh, we were there for Passover. And I said, I'll make the matzo ball soup. So I made the matzo ball soup. Now it's time to make the matzo balls. And I said, all right, ladies, I need your help. In 20 minutes, when the timer goes off, we have to all go over and say something nice to the matzo balls. There were 15 of us surrounding the stove with the matzo balls to say something nice.
Listen, I hope that you documented that moment, because that's one of those moments that, you're creating these rituals and traditions that will stick with them like long after, and they'll be remembering. Do you remember when Susan made us go around the pot and say something nice to the matzo balls?
Did you, I posted on Facebook that I was going to be doing this, and my friend Julie said, say something nice to the matzo balls. Here, I'll sing you a matzo ball song. So wait, we said
Now we're talking. We need a matzo ball song.
This is a shehechianu. I never sang in the kitchen.
That's right. So let's do the shehechianu. So this is a shehechianu moment because this is the first time, even though Susan is on Zoom and recording all day long, almost every day, she's never recorded from the heart of the kitchen. And this is our shehechianu moment. Let's do it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. So now we're ready. We blessed. We said thank you to God, and now we're ready. Fantastic. So let's see. This is my friend Ellen Allard. If you've never heard Ellen Allard before, she is brilliant and wonderful, awesome. She can come up with a song for anything. So this is her matzo ball song. It goes like this. How do you make your matzo balls? How do you make your matzo balls? How do you make your matzo balls when you make your matzo ball soup? When you make your matzo ball soup. So our family likes it light and fluffy. So even though I can't hear you, because that's sort of the rules of Zoom, sadly, I'm going to sing it and then you're going to sing it after me, like this. I like them light and fluffy. She likes them light and fluffy. Okay, ready? I go first. I like them light and fluffy. She likes them light and fluffy. I like them light and fluffy when I make my matzo ball soup. When I make my matzo ball soup. How do you make your matzo balls? How do you make your matzo balls? How do you make your matzo balls when you make your matzo ball soup? When you make your matzo ball soup. So we have some people who like the sinkers. They sink to the bottom of the bowl. They sink to the bottom of the bowl. Sink to the bottom of the bowl when they make their matzo ball soup. When they make their matzo ball soup. Hey, how do you make your matzo balls? How do you make your matzo balls? How do you make your matzo balls when you make your matzo ball soup? When you make your matzo ball soup. You can have them gluten-free. Anybody here gluten-free? I know, but you know, some people are. I make them with less salt. She makes them with less salt. I make them with less salt when I make my matzo ball soup. When she makes her matzo ball soup, sing along. How do you make your matzo balls? How do you make your matzo balls? How do you make your matzo balls when you make your matzo ball soup? When you make your matzo ball soup. That's a song that's actually called a zipper song. A zipper song is a song like, old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on this farm he had a cow, on this farm he had a duck, on this farm he had a pig, on this farm he had you could zip anything into it. So you could zip anything in. You make them from a box, you make them nice and fresh, you make them in a square. You could add anything in there that you want. We just added a couple right here. So that was the matzo ball song. I just sang the matzo ball song in the kitchen while I was cooking the chicken soup. Awesome. Let me put the guitar down.
Okay, but let's not forget the chicken in the pot.
All right, we can do that one right now. I have no idea who even wrote that one. That one.
It's not Ellen?
No, it wasn't Ellen. No, it was way, I don't think so, but it was way before Ellen. I taught Robyn's 3 children. I taught Janie's children. And when their children were little, we sang this song. Put a chicken in the pot, stir it up nice and hot. Get it ready for Shabbat, for Shabbat. And then you can name all the things that you put in. We're gonna put in onions. And you know what happens when you cut onions? You cry. You don't mean to. It's not that you're sad. The onions make you cry. Put some onions in the pot, stir it up nice and hot. Get it ready for Shabbat, for Shabbat. And of course you need, well, there's all this other stuff. We're going to put in a lot of stuff. But also, don't forget the pepper. And the pepper makes you whew, put spur in spur. Nice. Get the for he. Excuse me.
Oh, chicken. We got to use the chicken.
Right.
The chicken, the elbow. What is it called? The chicken leg? You know, when you're sneezing into your arm?
Yes. What did somebody call it the other day? Your coughing pocket or something? Your sneezing pocket?
I like the chicken leg better.
The pocket? Let me go put the guitar down.
Okay, good idea. We need to cook.
Well, it's cooking. It's cooking for us. All right, so. It already smells good and I got nothing in there yet.
Okay, well, let's get some good stuff in there.
Let's see if we can get this heat going up. It's okay. I have to prepare just a few more vegetables. So what I did was, what I put in is, I put in turnips. I put in parsnip. My mother used to, if you could find parsley root, she always suggested parsley root. Very hard to find. You can't always find parsley root. So I've made it without the parsley root. Parsley and dill. I could walk through the produce department at Publix and just smell the parsley and dill. And then I have to go back through Publix and get all the ingredients to make the chicken soup.
I know. I love the
the
dill is so key.
Yeah, it just like makes me want to make it. Carrots, onions, celery, garlic, salt, and pepper. So what I did was, let's see if I can gently move you without unplugging you. Okay. So I have over here my container that
Voila, already chopped and cut and ready to go.
So there's turnips, parsnip, celery.
And did you you leave it whole?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I cut it maybe like in half to make it fit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So speaking of traditions and family, my Aunt Judy, who is my mother's sister, so it's on that side of the family. When I told her that after I cook the soup, I take out the parsnip and the turnip and I throw it away, she got very upset with me. Oh my God, it's the best part of the whole thing. Why do you do that? And I'm like, because my mother taught me to do it that way. Actually, my mother took out all the vegetables except for the carrots. I keep all the vegetables in except the parsley and the turnip. I mean the turnip and the parsnip. But
what I do with that, just as a little difference, I don't know what everybody else does, but I think I told you this, I take half of the stuff from inside and I put it into a blender and I blend it so that it thickens the soup a little bit. And then I leave some of it chunky so that I can put it into the bowls. But you and your family like what?
My family likes the broth nice and clear.
Clear.
Well, I should say that after I cook it and after I take every single thing out just so that it can and then I have a clear broth, and then I take some of the onions and some of the celery and I cut that back and I put it back in, and I put some of the chicken back in. The carrots stay in, but one time I kept everything in and the family went, like they left all of it in the bowl. They were like, we like it clear. Okay. You know, you take the cues from your
Well,
your
let's
family.
take a poll here. Who likes clear chicken soup? Put in one. And who likes it to be a little thicker, maybe with some stuff in it, some schmaltz? What do you guys like? One for clear? Put it in the chat. One for clear and two for fuller, richer. I don't mean richer like not good, but.
Well, you know, you got to listen to the family.
Yeah, you know, listen, those are traditions. How we make it, we all pass down those vador things, you know, one generation to the next.
Exactly.
So it looks like Looks like they kind of like mine. I hate to tell you.
So next week, Robyn's going to be making chicken soup in her kitchen for you. Here's the rest of the parts.
I think that they're just saying that because I'm their rabbi.
That's true. I have garlic. Oh, by the way, I use a roaster or a fryer chicken.
Oh.
So, like, my husband went to Doris's yesterday to get the chicken, and they didn't have a roaster or a fryer. So, that is Purdue is fine if you like kosher. That's fine. So I get the whole chicken, and I have them cut it in quarters. And this one didn't come with all the goodness from the inside, everything that comes on the inside. Sometimes it does, and then I've made chopped liver from what's on the inside, and sometimes I don't. I have in here some garlic.
So do you put those whole, or are you crushing them, or?
Just put them whole in.
It sounds so much easier.
Yep.
It's like the real one potter.
So here, let me show you this. I have not used this yet. A friend of mine, I was watching a friend, the way I'm making it today is the way I make it all the time. And shortly after I was making mine, I was on Facebook, and a friend of mine, a cantor, who I think lives in Arizona now, he's talking about soup socks. Have you ever heard of soup socks?
Not before you.
Comes in a bag like this, soup socks. You can get it at Bed Bath & Beyond. I got these on Amazon, and they are literally socks. Let's see. Let's open them together. And hold on. Here's one. And you open it up, and you put the chicken into this sock. And you put the whole sock into your pot. So when it's time to take out the chicken, you don't have to go fishing for the chicken. You just pull the sock out. And you put your vegetables, like I would keep the onions and the celery and the carrots in the bag that I'm going to keep. And the vegetables, like the garlic and the turnip and the parsnip that I'm going to throw away, I would put in another soup sock. So I would have 3 soup socks in there, and then all you have to do is pull it out. A friend
Is that like a pantyhose?
They're kind of like, yeah. A friend of mine said she has a pot that has like a colander in it. So she puts it's like a spaghetti pot. So she puts it in, and then she puts everything in the middle. And then when it's time to just clear the broth out, she pulls the colander part of it out that has all the goodness in there.
That's an excellent idea. I have that. It's for pasta, and I never thought of using it for chicken.
I just said to my husband, I got to get one of these pots.
Yeah, and they'll fit in that huge thing.
Yeah, right. So it's got the colander on the inside. You just put it, and then you can pull it out, and then you can put back in what you want to put back in, the carrots and the whatever. But then you have your clear broth.
So Susan, how long are you cooking the chicken before you put the vegetables in?
It cooks for a little. It's got to come to a boil.
So if you put the top on it, it'll come to a boil faster.
It's
right,
almost
Karen?
there.
I think Karen asked that. Or no,
Almost there.
it was Amy.
We can put it on.
Put your top on.
It's almost there. But I still have to cut an onion. So I figured I would at least cut an onion while I was, for everybody to know that I really did it. Here's 2 Vidalia onions. I cut them in half. But I will cut one more.
So while you're cutting that, do you know where matzo balls come from?
Nope.
And how long they date back to?
No.
I do. Thank you, Rabbi Google. Do you know that they're obviously, since we are all Eastern European, that it's from Eastern Europe, from like Alsace region and from Germany and Austria. And they used to be called, or they still are called in that area, Knedlach. You remember Knedlach?
Sure.
Right, so that's the original Knedlach, but it's from the 12th century. That German, Austrian, Alsatian, and Polish Jews were the first ones to prepare these matzo balls. And then later on, Middle Eastern started putting their flavors into it and making their own kind of, they don't call them matzo balls and they don't call them Knedlach, I can assure you.
Right. When I first married Michael, he used to say, "Oh, I'd like some Knedlach in my chicken soup," and I thought, Isn't that like the little wontons?
That's what I thought. How I grew up calling them.
That's what I thought.
Did you ever go to the Famous?
Oh,
Who went to the Famous on Washington Avenue, right? And they used to have these knedlach, and they had them either steamed or pan fried.
right. And they were like these little
Wontons.
yeah.
Yeah. See,
Exactly.
the Asian people, I think that they started that, but we go way back.
That's right. We go way back.
We got that.
All right. So it's not up to a boil yet, but it's coming up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my vegetables. And now I have 3 big onions. Then I'm just going to put around. I have a big pot because when you put everything in and the water rises,
There you go.
yep,
So was it like halfway before you started putting?
it's just about halfway.
Yeah.
So I have my onions in now. Good. And then I took a whole celery stalk that I cut up, but I'm not using the whole thing.
No, you don't use the leaves, the celery leaves?
Yes. So here, by the way, goes the garlic. Doo-doo-doo. And I just took a whole garlic clove. You know, five or six of them in there. It says on here, garlic, eight fresh cloves crushed. I don't crush it, but you can. The parsnip and a
As long as
parsnip.
everyone's participating in the eating of the soup, then the garlic is cool.
Well, you know,
You don't want to go to work and after you've had that.
keeps the evil away, right? So it says on here, parsnip, 6 to 8. They don't, they used to come singles where you just bought them. Now they come in a bag. You got to just buy the whole bag. So
And
I
unless
did.
you use them, then you're probably not going to use them any other time.
That is correct. So that's going in there.
And do you ever put in any extra like bouillon or like chicken flavoring or anything? It's enough? It's
Yep.
rich enough?
Yep. I've got my turnips. And then I will put the celery. So, I don't always use the leaves, but sometimes I do. And my grandmother would tell me that it's got a lot of the flavor, a lot of the goodness in it. So,
Yeah, I do too. Oh, do you remember I had a dear friend who passed away a number of years ago. Remember Debbie Greenberg?
yes.
So Debbie used to make chicken soup all the time. And one of the things that she taught me was when you put the onions into the pot, that you should put the onion skins in because it adds coloring to the chicken soup. And so now
I was just going to tell you that. I've
every
not.
time I make it, I think about her.
Well, I have not done that just because, like, I feel like all the dirt and everything that's on the onion is on that skin, and I guess I could wash it, but I don't know. So I don't but I have heard that also.
Boiling out all the germs.
Yeah, right. I was just saying to Robin that I've heard lately they say you don't have to cook your chicken before you eat it. Ooh. The microwave just went beep, beep, beep. Ready, friends? It's time to say something nice to the matzo balls. Wait, hold on. Let's
Blessing
see.
on your head, mazel tov.
Let's see.
Beautiful.
Wow, you look great. You look wonderful, terrific.
Oh, you are beautiful, and you're going to add sustenance and bring healing to so many people.
Yeah. All right, 5 more minutes. Whoop. I know you're like looking at the ceiling right now. All right, hold on.
While you're finishing, does anybody know how matzo balls became a household part of our food traditions and household name?
No.
There was a company that through the Industrial Revolution, I'm going to wait till you can answer this. I'll try to do it slowly. So as you think of it, just unmute yourself. There was a company that, as a result of the Industrial Revolution, started making a product that we use on Passover that enabled them to also mass produce not only matzah, but matzah meal. And in an effort to figure out what to do with this, to market it and to make even more money off of us Jewish people, what did Kathy say? And where the medicine is, the matzo balls? Yeah, but what company made matzo balls a household name?
Manischewitz or
Thank you very
Strengths?
much. Manischewitz. Before that, it was not so popular.
No.
It was something that they did in the old country, but it became part of our, everyday cooking and our holiday cooking and just part of what we do as, at our Jewish tables by making matzo balls.
And by the way, I've used Strites before, and they're great. And I've had very successful matzo balls. I'm a fan of Manischewitz.
It's a tradition. Your mom probably used Manischewitz.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I didn't use all of the celery. And now I'm going to get the carrots.
While you're getting that out, I wanted to share with you that there is actually record of soup being part of our Jewish cuisine. Does anybody remember the story in the Bible? Maybe one of our patriarchs, who made soup. It wasn't exactly matzo ball soup, since that was, we think.
Is it stone soup?
Is it what?
Stone soup?
No. Which patriarch was the one who made soup? Maybe something to do with a birthright?
I don't know.
Jacob.
Oh.
Jacob. That's the first recorded bowl of soup in Jewish history. When Jacob traded to Esau his soup and trading it off of his birthright. So yeah.
So let's talk
Actually
carrots.
became a tradition to offer to mourners later on in the Talmud, but that's another thing. So it's part of our healing process.
There you go. Thanks for teaching us that.
Uh-huh.
So growing up, my mother always bought 2 pounds of real carrots, the big carrots, that you peel and you cut and you put in.
Yeah.
I actually like that taste better, but this is easier, and my family likes the baby carrots. So I just got Publix baby carrots.
Oh, okay.
Yep. But you can
at least they're already cut and you don't have to cut them up.
Exactly. So you can get the baby carrots or the big carrots. They're both good. And now I'm going to add some pepper. Pepper. It says 2 teaspoons of pepper. I'm going to put in 1. Well, like you said, everybody likes it a different flavor. And you could always add, but you can't take it away. There's a running joke in our family that, hold on, here comes a teaspoon of pepper. Ooh, doo, 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 doo. Okay. Let's take a look.
How long will this cook for? Whoa, that's full.
Yep. See, yeah, it goes almost up to the top. It says total cooking time. Cook for 45 minutes to an hour. Make sure that the chicken doesn't fall apart. So, and then about 15 minutes before it's done, we're going to add the parsley and the dill, which I'm going to show you that in a second. So let me get my spoon. I'm going to dunk all this in here.
Did your mom ever use schmaltz before it became unpopular? Did anybody ever use schmaltz?
You mean in the soup or just use it?
In the matzo balls.
No, not in the matzo balls.
But schmaltz was like this thing, like that all of our Jewish cooking was made. We didn't have Wesson oil.
Right.
We had schmaltz, chicken fat.
Okay. The timer went off on the matzo balls. Oh, wait, I'll cover this. Remember, cover the soup or you won't have any broth.
Susan, you don't tend to add any more water to end up having more broth?
In the soup,
Yes.
you can, but when the vegetables soften and everything, they move, and it'll cover it. Look at those matzo balls.
Do you
Wow,
add
they look
any
awesome.
matzo balls to the soup or to get the flavor of the soup?
Yes, but I don't cook the matzo balls in the soup because then it'll be pasty.
Mm, okay.
Did that once.
So so you're going to put that in after the soup is done. You're going to put the matzo balls into the soup with all the
I'm just
chicken and
gonna
all the
put it
stuff.
into a container right now.
And it won't smash them.
Mm-mm. My father used to make them in advance and freeze them, and he would put like a little bit of the water from the matzo ball pot here in and freeze it. So the last time I made these, I made extra matzo balls, and I said to the family, "Don't use the liquid that's in the matzo balls because it's just salty water. It's not soup."
There's something so comforting about matzo balls. And I try not to eat too much of it. It hurts my stomach. You know, like it reminds me of Passover. But I love that taste, that consistency is so soft and fluffy.
Yep. Don't they look fluffy and light?
Yes, they do. They look beautiful.
Beautiful. So now, let's just review. We put in the chicken, we put in the turnips, and we didn't do parsley root. We put in the carrots, parsnip, onions, celery, garlic, some of the salt, some of the pepper. And by the way, it says approximately 2 ladles of soup per person, about 9 ounces, figure 4 portions per quart of clear soup. That's with nothing in it.
Okay. So
Can I
Susan,
ask a
we have like, go ahead.
If you wanted to serve, the carrots and the onions and some of that, can you cut that up before it goes into the soup?
Sure,
Okay.
sure. There's some family members that don't like carrots, so I keep them big so that I can divide it. Yes, I could have cut every single vegetable, just chopped it all up and put it in that way. Sure,
Sounds
absolutely.
much easier your way.
Yeah. Now wait, hold on. Before you cut me off, let me do this real fast. This is the parsley and the dill, which you don't put in immediately. But what I'm going to do is, let's see, move you over here so that we can see. I use a cheesecloth.
Now you got a sock.
I could use a sock. My mother, but I wanted to do it the way I've always done it. So my mother used to take thread. She would take white thread. Make sure you use white thread. Don't use colored thread because then the colored thread would be in your soup.
Yeah, not good.
Right. So I take cheesecloth. And I cut off a piece of the cheesecloth.
I never did this, but it's really a good idea.
Well, because I don't eat all the parsley and the dill. And if you just throw it in, then you're fishing out that parsley and dill, where you're going to get the mass out.
It's great.
By having this. So we put this, we lay it out, and we take the parsley and the dill, which we washed. Make sure to wash your parsley and dill because it's filthy. So I washed it. So I'm going to put the parsley here, and I'm going to put the dill right on top of it. You could do it separate or you could do it together. And then I wrap it up.
While you're wrapping that up, and before you're going to leave us with a Rosh Hashanah song, I know, so you can be thinking about that. There is actually a world record, 2 world records regarding matzo balls. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in 2008 ate 78 33.5 ounce size matzo balls in 8 minutes. 78 matzo balls. Are you catching that? That's really crazy.
That's not funny.
Okay, you ready for that? I can't even imagine what, I think he would have had to be going to the hospital afterwards.
Yeah, I can't
So here-
imagine that either.
So this is the next one. The world's largest matzo ball ever prepared was a 426-pound matzo ball for New York's Jewish Food Festival.
Wow.
Pretty crazy. 426 pounds of a matzo ball? Shoo!
Sometimes
All right.
I feel like I'm 426 pounds after eating a matzo ball. All right, so here's my cheesecloth.
Oh, so you don't have to cover the whole thing? You just do enough of it?
Because you're getting
Cool.
the most of it out is what you're doing. You know,
Awesome.
and you don't want to leave it in
Uh-huh.
too long. If you leave it in too long, your soup will turn green. Right.
Okay.
So don't do that. So
So
let's
what's too long?
Well, that's cooking for a minute. Can I sing one of my songs? Not a Rosh Hashanah
Would
song?
you?
Yes.
I would love that. Susan, while you're singing this, I just want to thank you so much for sharing your soul and your beautiful spirit, and of course, Mom's recipe. And I know that it brings so much healing and joy to people when you share that. So thank you so much for all that you do for our community and for our children. And thank you for being a dear friend to be here with us for this hour.
I was so excited about this. When you
I
asked
can't
me,
wait.
I was so excited. Hey, Robin, I might make a little trip down to Miami maybe this weekend or something, and
Love that.
might have to drop
I'll
off
meet up with you. Love
gift-
it.
gift-
Listen, you're a dear. I love you to pieces, and we all thank you. So let's, I wish you and everybody on this call and all of our loved ones.
You froze for a second there.
Lots of reasons to celebrate.
Thank you. Hold on. Here we go. Ready?
Are we froze?
You did for a second.
Yes.
You're all right. This song is called Tradition. I wrote this song, and I wrote it because I tried to carry on the traditions that my mother and father taught me. I have one child, and if I don't teach my child to do these things, he's cooked the brisket in the kitchen with me, he's cooked the soup in the kitchen with me, he knows and understands the sharing of all the food. He not only wants to eat it, but he wants to make sure that others get it. We're going to deliver to Uncle Sid, my father's brother, who's the sole survivor on my father's side of the family. Aunt Betty will get some. Betty Suchman is going to get some. She's the sole survivor on my mom's side of the family in that generation. The cousins will get some. And I share, because if I don't do it, then the traditions will end. The traditions will be gone. And whatever the traditions might be, whether it's making a soup or whatever it is, if you're a Dolphin fan, or if you're a Miami Heat fan, or if you're a Marlins fan, whatever, teach your children traditions that they will carry on. And long after we are gone, the traditions will not be gone anymore. So this song is called Tradition. We do it today. We did it yesterday. We call it tradition. Tradition. We do it today. We'll do it tomorrow. We call it tradition. Tradition. There are things that we do and we say yesterday and today. We learn it from family this way. We call it tradition. Our life is a celebration to share with the next generation. We learn it from family this way. We call it tradition. Some stories we've been told. Some are very old. Some are very new. For us to carry through. We do it today. We did it yesterday. We call it tradition. Tradition. We do it today. We'll do it tomorrow. We call it tradition. Tradition. Ooh. tradition. I'm not sure how long you all have been members of Temple Beth Or, but my friend Paul Hoyle, I know used to be a member of Temple Beth Or. He is my producer, and we wrote this together. So if you know Paul in your community, he's a great guy.
And I even got to record on one of your albums too with Paul Hoyle.
You did. Yes, you did.
That was my big moment of fame.
Hey, listen, everybody gets a few minutes of it, right?
I'll take it. Thank you, Susan Linder. Thank you, everybody. God bless and Shana Tova Mituka.
Here, let's take a little look over here before we hang up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ooh. The
Oh,
greens
look.
will have to go in.
Wow.
Smelling it.
And the matzo balls.
Beautiful.
And I'll
All
share.
right, I stopped our live.
Okay, Robyn, I love you, man. Thank you
Thank you.
so much.